Um, so John Rigler here, and I am a blockchain data fanatic. Okay, and what does that mean? It means that I am 110% excited about this technology, and I want to share it with you. And I want to make training part of my life, right? So, classes, boot camps, that's the new thing, right? AI, we'll get AI involved in this, but also um, there's different technologies, and this one that I'm showing you right now that I have all around me in this way that I love to do that hopefully is not intimidating is I'm showing you this. I call it Generation 1. So this is an older crypto, and it's called Digibyte. And it is a cryptocurrency, but it sort of bills itself as a tool, as a system, and that's how I see it as well. And it's something that you can run yourself, right? So it's very distributed. You can run, you can have all of sort of the data of Digibyte on your laptop with this tool here. It's called Digibyte Core, and I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm looking at the debug log right now, which tells when a new transaction comes in. So this is a new block that gets created by the Digibyte miners in the world, and they compete to do this, and it's called proof of work. Usually, there's a couple different ones for Digibyte, but that's what we see, and we see sometimes where it says new best right here, right? That means that's the new block. Sometimes new best will have a bunch of zeros in front of it, and that means that that block was created with a certain algorithm. It's calling it SHA-256D. I call it proof of work. That's the original thing that made Bitcoin so famous, was proof of work. And if you look at the name of a block, which is a big long string of numbers and letters, but if you look at it and it's proof of work, you should see a bunch of zeros at the beginning. That's because what the miners were doing was trying to find that kind of it's called a hash, right? So it was trying to create this kind of organic number block name from manipulating stuff within the block. There's something called a nonce. It's a pretty elegant process, but it might seem overly complicated at first. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at right here. This is the console, and I got there from opening it here, opening the debug log. Now, in this node, this window kind of tells me about different things. If I kind of move it to the side for here, this is the program itself running, and you can run it in the background, but I like to run it in the foreground. And you can see your transactions, and you'll notice something kind of interesting is that my transactions are words, right? Like this seems to say, has the word Matthew in it, right? Like in the Bible, right? Or Mark. And so, because I don't know, I like to fiddle around with Bible stuff and religious ideas sometimes in my examples. It's just something I do. I don't know. I do know why, but we can talk about that some other time. So this is a transaction that I created to send money to an address, and the address wasn't a real address in that no one can get the money out of this because it's a word, and that's one of the things that I do to hack data into this ledger. Nobody told me to do that. Nobody explained it to me. It's just something I have started to do because I'm a hacker, and that's how hackers work. We figure out how to do things, and we do them, and then we show other people. I'm not an evil hacker. I'm what I call a Paul Graham hacker. And he wrote a book called Hackers and Painters. Paul Graham is really important. He started a fund called Y Combinator, which is, huge Silicon Valley stuff. So he's a really important guy. He considers himself to be a hacker. Not that you're breaking into stuff, but that you bring stuff together. And so this is one of my hacks, is putting these words in as addresses. See, this is sort of an address that isn't a word, right? It's a big long string of numbers and letters. Anyway, so that is and I would say to the students out there that people that want to understand this, that you could really come to understand a lot about blockchain by doing what I do with Digibyte. There's other currencies that are better. I'm a big fan of EVM and smart contracts and all of that, and I show that to other people. But this is something that it's sort of like that stuff is a little bit too heavy. It's too much. And this is like just enough, right? This is just enough to communicate stuff, to use this thing, and you can run it yourself, right? You can participate in it yourself. And so just a couple other things here. Let's see. I think if I open the console again, let's go back to the console. Right here, first of all, it's got this red warning right here, right? Almost everything I do is in the space where there's some sort of warning, or where people are saying, danger, this is dangerous, a dangerous world. And if you understand and you know what you're doing, which is the goal, then it's not a dangerous place. If you're relying on somebody to explain everything to you, then everything is a dangerous place. And it sort of drives you away from innovation, and it drives you towards what I would call stasis, right? And so that's not what this is. This is all new stuff, new ideas, okay? So, and within this console that you can type commands, right? Like this is a command. Well, you can type a command called, let's see, help, right? And it tells you all different things, right? Like send mini sends crypto to different addresses, and then there's so it's like writing a check to 3 people at once, right? And then you can also kind of hack that and turn it into something different, and that's part of what I do. And so, but there's all sorts of commands, and there's a command called, let's see, get block count, let's say. That tells you how many blocks are in the ledger right now. That's how many. In a few seconds, it'll be on to the next block. Right? We're not quite there yet, but in a minute we'll be there. Get balance shows me my balance. And now another thing is this Digibyte that's running, the way I have it set up is a little server on my computer. So instead of some Digibyte service being hosted on some website, it's right here on my computer. And I can, and now this is an important programming thing. This is big, okay? And these tools that I'm sharing with you are also used in other places. They're used at whatever company you want to go work for, if that's what your thing. If you think there's a great job out there for you in technology, these are the skills that you're going to need. These are this thing I'm about to show you, okay? So instead of running the commands to interact with Digibyte from this little window, right, where you have all these commands, all this stuff you can do, you can run them from outside, from a program or something on your computer. And that's what this is. This is, this is the same thing. Get block count, and boom, it comes back with the result. And we can see, and I have various little commands and scripts and shortcuts. That's what this is. This is the shortcut that I made. But I want to show you what that command looks like. It's right here. It's called curl, and there's different stuff I've set up. Like I set up a password and things like that. But it's curl, and then you send it. This is called JSON. So you send it this little snippet, right? And what you're going to send it is number 1. So that's whatever gets passed into it, right? This right here, this gets overwritten. If I didn't have this line here, then it would default to that get block count. But with this, so now with this tool, this very simple tool, I could run any of these commands from the command line. Now I can also, I think, I haven't checked this out entirely, but I should be able to also be in my browser and run JavaScript that can access this. Because, let's see, let's look again. See, we're accessing this address right here, right? So, so I should be able to put that in my browser. I can try that out and see what happens. Let's test that out right now. And this is how you learn new things. Is you can just kind of fiddle with stuff. All right. So I'm gonna open up a new window here. Okay. And then I'm gonna say inspect, and that gets me to a different console. So anything I type into here can be a JavaScript program. Now, a lot of people have learned certain ways to use JavaScript. You've been taught certain ways to do things, or maybe you haven't. Maybe some company that you want to work for does things a certain way. So, and again, these skills will be good for that company, but also just for you yourself, understanding and engaging in this environment is sort of its own reward. And I know that sounds kind of stupid, but it's true. And you get a level of freedom because you're interacting with this stuff yourself. But let's see. So I'm going to do a command called fetch. I'm going to try to fetch this, and I just want to see what happens if I type that. Now it says that it refused to connect because it violates the following rules. Okay, so I couldn't do it not because the code wasn't smart enough, but because my browser has a rule in there that keeps me from doing that. So then that means that solution is going to have to be more complex for me, right? What this thinks is that if that curl command was running on a secured server, on the internet, that would be okay. But because it's running on my laptop, that's not okay. Right? Think about that for a second. Just think about that. The idea, the assumption, and this is a big assumption in cybersecurity, the assumption is that if it's running on your machine, it's bad. If it's running outside, out there, it's good. Okay? So this would be something for me to kind of figure out how to work with. I can install more software on my computer to get around that, which I think is ultimately the solution. Like, I might not even use this browser. I might use like a gaming system called Godot or something like that. That's kind of how all this fits together. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful. Like I say, I'm here in Austin, Texas now, and I'm meeting up. I'm meeting students. I'm getting hooked into the colleges as best as I can. I'm starting with Austin Community College. There's another one here. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's it's called UT, right? So maybe I'll talk to those guys too. But my understanding is that if you are technology guy, if you're really sharp, then you come to a place like Austin, and that's where all the innovators are, right? Up in Dallas, everything was about banking. Houston, everything's about oil. Austin is apparently where the super geniuses are, so here I am. All right. Hey, guys, have a good one.